It's January 1st, and you just made a list of brand new resolutions. Things you have been meaning to handle for some time now. If you want to be honest, probably for years. Or as long as you can remember. The motivation is there, the desire for change is there. You Google a fitness plan, download a meal planning app, you set your alarm for 6 a.m. and here you go. The next version of yourself is finally on its way. It's exciting, it's empowering. You feel so ready that you almost wonder why you've never done this before. And then something happens. You miss one day, or life gets hard, or you just stop right when the momentum was building. And before you know it, you're back at zero again. You find yourself ordering a pizza on a Saturday night, and in your mind you come to this conclusion: I am just not a disciplined person. But here's where this conclusion is wrong and kills any hope of progress you can aim for in the future. What nobody really cares to teach is that discipline is not a character trait. It is not something that you either have or you don't. It is a nervous system state. If your nervous system was wired in an environment of chaos, unpredictability, chronic stress, your body did not learn discipline. It learned survival. And those things are not just different, they are fundamentally opposites. Let me explain what I mean. When you grow up in a stable, predictable environment where your needs are met consistently, where the adults around you are regulated, tomorrow feels roughly like today. And so your nervous system learns something fundamental. It learns that it is safe to plan ahead, safe to delay gratification, safe to do the hard thing now for a reward that comes later. This is what discipline actually is at its root. It is the ability to act from your future self rather than your present discomfort. And it requires one thing above everything else: a nervous system that believes the future is safe enough to invest in. Now, think about what happens when that's actually not the environment that you grew up in. When things were unpredictable, when the emotional temperature of the house could shift from one minute to the next without any warning. When you grow up in this environment, your brain learns to be focused, consciously or not, on reading the temperature of the room. It needs to stay alert in case something bad happens unexpectedly, and it needs to manage the situation right there in the present. Manage the people around you, manage the conversations, manage the energy. That is the nervous system of someone who grew up in unpredictable environments. And that nervous system still exists in the person as an adult. It did not change. So when you sit down to build a new habit, like whether to go to the gym or like eat differently or work on something that matters, some part of your system registers it as a threat. Not logically, not consciously, but in the body. In the resistance you feel that you just cannot explain. In the procrastination that kicks in right at the moment of starting. In the self-sabotage that arrives exactly when things start going well. And you might be wondering, how does sitting down to build a habit register as threats? Like, there's no danger here. But your nervous system doesn't speak the language of logic. It speaks the language of pattern. It is not assessing whether the situation in front of you is objectively dangerous. It is asking one question. Does this feel like what I know? Discipline is a no. Because starting a new habit requires you to trust the future. To believe that what you do today will matter tomorrow. And for someone who grew up in chaos, where tomorrow was never guaranteed, where hope most often led to disappointment, where stability was never something that you could count on, that trust truly feels impossible. It is foreign. The system resists it. And this is why every discipline system that you can ever try is going to fail you, if it has not already. Because those systems were designed for a regulated nervous system. They assume a baseline of safety that your body never had the chance to build. So you follow the system for a while and it works, and then the moment stress arrives or uncertainty or anything that activates the old survival states, the system collapses. Because the foundation it needed was never really there. So what do you do with this? The first thing, and I cannot overstate how important this is to stop trying to discipline your way out of a nervous system problem. Every time you white-knuckle your way through a habit and then collapse, you are not building discipline. You are building more evidence for the story that you can't do it. And that story makes the next attempt harder. What you need to build first is not discipline. It is safety. Your nervous system needs to learn, slowly, through through repeated, reliable experience that the present moment is safe enough to act from, that you are not in danger, that you can put down the hypervigilance and actually be here. That happens through regulation, through learning to recognize when your system is activated and having tools to bring it back down, through building tiny, consistent actions that are so small they don't trigger the threat response, and completing them. Not to build the habit, but to build the evidence that you are someone who follows through. That evidence accumulates, and slowly, quietly, it begins to change what your nervous system believes is possible. This is not a quick fix, but it is the actual fix. And it works. Not because it requires more willpower, but because it stops asking your survival brain to do a job it was never designed for. If you want me to make a full video breaking down the exact process, step by step, practically, in a way that you can actually use, let me know in the comments. If there is enough interest, I will make my next video about this. Because this work is really important. It is life-changing and it deserves more than a paragraph, more than one video. And frankly, so do you.